Jeff, our accomplished presenter today, is a results-oriented management consultant. He's an org development specialist, executive, he has a lot of hats here, executive coach, trainer, workshop leader, and national speaker. Jeff is a pioneer in the field of stress management. You were telling me that the first course you conducted was 1974.
Well, I'm just curious, how many people have done anything good for yourself today so far, health-wise? Good. Let's hear what you've done.
I came here.
Came here is good, absolutely. The reason I'm asking because we get so caught up in what we have to do that we don't take care of ourselves. And I think that's the most important, is really taking care of yourself, trying to figure out what to do. And guess what? Today, you're going to figure out what you want to do. So that's good. We have a little assessment tool that I developed, and we'll get into that a little bit later. So we're making it like a productive day, not just to hear about stress and relaxation, meditation, things like that, but to give you something that you can work on for yourselves. Okay? So the stress response was a response that we needed to survive as cave people. So I'm coming out of my cave, and all of a sudden I hear a bush rattle. So what happens? My body goes through the stress response. Over 1,000 hormones are pumped into my system, and I'm ready to respond. If it's a rabbit, I get my rock and I hit it, and I bring it back to the cave. And there was a good division of labor in those days, so I'd say, honey, cook. Today she would say, no, you cook it. If it was a lion, I would run. So we needed this response. But what's happening today is we have this response over and over again because of traffic, because of relationship problems, credit cards, all these different things cause us stress, and it causes our body to respond. So there's nothing wrong with the stress response. We needed it to survive. And maybe we still need it today for some situations. But because we ruminate on these things that cause us fear and worry, we're totally under stress for a prolonged period of time. So here's the key. The key would be to, if this is a baseline, and I'm driving on the freeway and a highway patrolman pulls up behind me, my stress level goes up. I feel it in my neck, my stomach. Then he passes me by, and my stress level goes down below baseline, so that I'm more relaxed after a stressful event than before it even happened. But what happens with most of us, we think about the situation and it keeps the stress level up. That's called prolonged stress. And that's the type that causes health problems. Why does it cause health problems? Because the body's immune system compromises when you're under prolonged stress. It doesn't work as well. So Hans Selye, the foremost authority on stress, defined it real simply as the rate of wear and tear on the body. The more stress you're under, the more you wear out your body. You know, we've had gone postal, desk rage, we've had road rage, and the new one is technical rage. It really is one. Mine is that those people that meditate, the frontal part of the brain becomes larger, and the amygdala part with the stress response becomes smaller. So we're seeing that now the research has shown us that our brain expands or contracts with our thoughts, and or if we meditate and relax, it really helps us to really be in a better place, and it lasts longer. It's not just a temporary thing, but it's a more permanent thing. There was a situation that happened to me, and I'll give you an example of it. When I was working on my doctorate, I was doing research on meditation. My doctorate is on meditation. And I saw that anybody that had anxiety, neurosis, backaches, headaches, a lot of the psychosomatic diseases, once they began meditation, those diseases disappeared. So I decided to try meditation. And what I did was build a box to sit in. I put foam around the box. And so in case I would fall asleep, my head wouldn't hit the wood, it would hit the foam. So I started with 20 minutes in the box, and I was focusing on a little dim light. And I would build up to 2.5 hours over 6 months, and each time I would get out of the box, I would journalize what my experience was, so that I learned about what is the personal experience of meditation for myself. So one day I'm in the box, and I hear,
Oh, God.
come come on out of the box and help me with these kids. So what was my first thought? My first thought was, hey, I'm working on my PhD. This is important stuff. But because I was meditating, and what meditation does is create some space between an action and a reaction, the second thought was, oh, she needs my help. So I got out of the box, and I started to make some cereal for the kids. And she says, well, let me go into that box for a while. So I said, fine. So I opened the lid, take her, help her into the box, and say, call me when you need me, turn the lid on. So she's in, if you can believe it, it's in this dark box, right? And there's a tiny little light to meditate on that's on the outside of the box. I drew the little hole, put some cotton in there because it made it very dim. And so she's in there, and a couple of minutes go by, and I hear, help! Get me out of here! So I leave the kids, and I run over to her, and I open the box, I say, what's wrong? And she says, snakes are crawling up my legs. Her worst fears, because there was nothing to distract her from her subconscious fears. And so she never went back in the box again. The thing that I get from this is we can make change an opportunity. And those people that survive stress and manage stress will see change as an opportunity rather than a negativity. So many people say to me, you know, well, I have this problem with my son or my daughter, and I constantly think about it. And I have problems with my daughter too, so I'm learning about what to do about it. And that is when I find myself ruminating or waking up in the morning and thinking these thoughts of why is she with this guy and that type of thing. Why is she wasting time? She says, Dad, it's a process. And I say, no, it's a choice. So what do? As soon as I find myself thinking of that, I take a breath, I say to myself, I am, brings me back into the moment, and I stop thinking about it. So you have a choice. You don't have to keep thinking thoughts you don't want to think. You just have to figure a way to change it. I love the statistic, over $800 million is spent on anti-anxiety pills. And the US accounts for only 5% of the world's population and consumes 33% of the pills. So psychologically, stress not only makes us feel older, but now we have the proof that it ages us on a cellular level. So let's take a moment to breathe. I'm going to teach you 2 techniques for getting rid of stress. People say they don't have time, but what about when you're waiting online at the bank or the supermarket, or you're at a stop sign or a red light? Take that opportunity to take a deep breath, breathe in, hold it, and let it go. So do a couple on your own. Get used to it because it'll reduce your stress level, brings you down below the baseline into that parasympathetic rebound after a stressful event. So get used to it. You know, I tell some people at work, when the phone rings, take a deep breath, release, and then answer the phone. You'll be more relaxed. And people will say on the other end, what's wrong with you? There's another breathing technique that I like. This is for, the first one was for reducing stress, for just letting it go. The second one is for creating some balance. So it works like this. You breathe in 3 counts, 1, 2, 3, hold, and then exhale slowly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So try that. Breathe in 3 counts, hold it, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And basically these techniques could save your life, really. So make stress your friend, because we find that some research was done at a financial planning company, and they took 3 groups of people, and they showed one group that stress was bad for you. They showed the other group a video that stress was good for you. And then the other group they didn't do anything with. And they found out that those people that felt that stress was good for them had less absenteeism, less health problems, and that type of thing. So it's the mind will make you handle stress better or make you handle it worse. It's your thoughts of what you're thinking. Well, I was hired by the Department of Corrections to visit the prisons in California and develop a stress management program for the correctional officers. Reason being that women were coming into the workforce at that time, and the men, the correctional officers, didn't feel that they could be helped if something bad happened, and they wanted to get out of there, so they were falling down and actually hitting their head on the ground to get out of workers' comp. So they asked me to come in and develop a program, which I did. And I taught the first program at San Quentin Prison for the sergeants there. And when I went to San Quentin Prison, the training manager said, come with me. And he took me to a room that was pretty small, and it had like knives and guns and things that they had confiscated from the inmates. And he said, you're going to teach them to relax when they can get killed at any time? So I said, that's part of it. And so what I had to do is think about how to answer his question, and I thought about the martial arts. And I said, did you ever hear of the martial arts? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, what did they teach you? They teach you to relax, so if something happens, you can respond fast. But if you were tense all day, you're not going to respond as fast. So it's a paradigm shift. Yeah, it's okay to relax, but be focused and alert. So first step is acknowledge that you're stressed. Oh, yeah, so the sergeants at San Quentin Prison said, what are you doing here? We don't have any stress. He did, he said that. So then I began to worry, can I help people that don't admit that they're under stress? No, you really can't. So make the decision to stop the stress cycle. So you have to stop saying, I don't want to think about this anymore. I don't want to feel this anymore. And you have to remember you are in control. You're in control. Sometimes you don't feel like you're in control, but as you see, as we progress into the next section, which would, some of it's meditation, you see that in the process of meditation, you begin to see that your thoughts are like a movie screen, and you're observing it. So you become objective. So the more you can become objective to your neurotic thinking, the more you feel like you're in control. Be 100% committed to being successful. Take a deep breath and release tension. When appropriate, leave the stressful situation, if you can. Break the stress cycle by thinking positive thoughts. And allow emotions to arise and then release them. There's nothing wrong with getting angry or upset. If you're driving on the freeway, someone cuts you off. It's okay to get upset, temporarily. And then say to yourself, well, thank God nobody got hurt. So you have control of those thoughts. You have control of your thoughts, and your thoughts have control of your physiology. Don't blame, pity, or punish yourself or others. And what positive result or growth has occurred from this situation? There's always something that you can learn about yourself. In a study of SCI Insurance Group, it was found that relaxation training lowered healthcare costs by 50 to 68%.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the data is out there. So the police are teaching meditation. The military is teaching meditation. Sports, Russell Wilson, Seattle, 2 years ago, I guess it was, they won the Super Bowl. They do meditation and yoga together. I taught my dog how to meditate.
Is that your box?
No, that's my dog. It took him a while to learn, but he can do it. If he can do it, you can do it. The nature of the mind is to be busy. The yogis compare the mind to a drunken monkey that has been bit by a scorpion, very active. And it's our job to train it, which is not the easiest thing in the world to do. But it works if you work on it. So to feel healthier, happier, and more alive, to take responsibility for our life and become less reactive and more proactive, and not be a victim. And to reduce worry, fear, anxiety, anger, and learn how to flow with change. So what do we use in a good stress management program? We have a workbook, we have class time, we have CDs. What I found is that you can't just come in and do a talk. Yeah, that's a little Band-Aid, come and do an hour talk or whatever, but if you want to change attitude and behavior, you have to do it over a period of time. So the best way to do a training program is come in 1 week, come back the next week and the next week, and have a follow-up session. And that way people can work with the tools and they can be responsible and committed to the program. And in the program, we have relaxation reminder cards. You'll see that in a minute. Because I found that if you want to change an attitude behavior, you have to see it around you all the time, because if you don't, you're going to forget about what you really want to do. And 10 ways to master stress. Take at least 20 deep breaths a day to release tension. Relax and meditate daily to calm your mind. Be proactive, not reactive to stress-inducing situations. And practice being in the moment. When you take that deep breath, let go of your thoughts. Receive and give love, express your feelings, and trust your intuitive nature. Be willing to forgive and release anger quickly. Only holding on to it only hurts you. Lighten up, let go, laugh, and have fun. The truth is, when you smile, you send a message to the brain that everything is okay. So just smiling is a good stress reduction device. And if you want to take that a little further, look in the mirror and have a good laugh. And since change is so prevalent, we got to learn to ride the wave of change and recognize what causes you stress and develop coping strategies. Don't keep letting the same thing affect you negatively all the time. And even if you don't like your work, follow your joy and what things that make you excited after work. And just for reflection, the greatest discovery in our generation is that human beings, by changing the inner attitudes of their minds, can change the outer aspects of their lives. Don't look to change the outer aspects, change yourself, and the outer aspects will change in time. Okay, well, thank you all for being such a great audience.